I want to start with a scenario that I think everyone, um, regardless of where they are in life, has experienced or at least feared.
Okay.
You're at a dinner party or maybe a wedding. You've got a drink in your hand. You're meeting new people. The energy is high. And then inevitably, a stranger turns to you and asks the 5 words that run the modern world. So what do you do?
Ah, yes. The universal icebreaker.
Right. And for, 90% of us, we just rattle off a title. I'm in marketing. I'm a teacher. I'm an engineer. It's a reflex.
Mm-hmm.
But for someone who is currently out of work, whether they were laid off, quit, or are just between things, that question doesn't feel like an icebreaker at all.
It feels like a trap.
It's a trap. It's the moment where the social contract demands you define yourself by your economic output, and you suddenly realize you don't have an answer. That silence, that hesitation.
That's what we're talking about today.
Exactly. That is what we are digging into. We aren't talking about resume tips. We aren't talking about how to ace an interview. We are doing a deep dive into the psychological warfare of unemployment.
The battle that happens inside your head while you're sitting on the couch, basically.
Precisely. And to guide us, we have a really interesting piece of source material. It's a conversation called Unemployment and Confidence, and it captures this really candid dialogue between two friends, Jack and Melissa.
Right.
Now, quick side note on the source. This is technically a slow and easy English dialogue. It's intended for language learners.
Which I actually love for this topic.
Oh, really? Why is that?
Yeah.
I mean, usually we're digging through the densest academic papers we can find.
Because when you strip away all the corporate buzzwords, when you can't hide behind synergies and career pivots, you're left with just raw elemental emotion.
I see.
Jack, the main subject here, he describes his feelings in such simple terms, but that simplicity makes the psychological truth impossible to ignore. Just cuts right to the bone.
So let's walk through Jack's journey then. He takes us through the life cycle of losing a job, and the timeline he describes is, it's not what I expected.
Hmm.
I think we all assume the day you lose your job is the day you hit rock bottom. But Jack says, at first, I felt okay.
Yeah, the honeymoon phase of unemployment is
Yeah.
actually a very documented phenomenon.
Is it just denial? Or is he just happy to not have to set an alarm?
Well, it's physiological. I mean, think about the modern workplace. It's a cortisol factory.
For sure. Stress, deadlines, commutes.
All of it. And when that suddenly stops, your body literally exhales. There's a drop in stress hormones. You have time to cook, time to sleep. It feels like a vacation because, structurally it mimics one.
Right. But Jack notes exactly when that feeling turns.
It does.
He says, slowly, I started to doubt myself. It's not a crash, it's a creep.
It's the silence getting louder. A vacation works because you know there's a return date. When there's no return date, that freedom starts to look a lot like emptiness.
Mhm.
And Jack describes his confidence with a really specific phrase. He says, "My confidence became very small."
I circled that word too. Small. It's just such a tactile way to describe a feeling.
It implies volume, doesn't it? When we're confident, we expand. We take up space in a room, we speak louder, we gesture more.
Totally.
When we lose that professional identity, we tend to physically and psychologically shrink. We try to become invisible because we feel we don't have the right to be there.
And that shrinking, that leads to the internal monologue. Jack lists the questions that started playing on a loop in his brain.
The scary ones.
Yeah. Am I good enough?
Mhm.
And why did I lose my job?
And this is where we cross a very dangerous line. It's the attribution error. We move from a situational problem, like the economy is bad or the company downsized, to a dispositional one.
Meaning, I am flawed.
Exactly. I am the problem.
But Jack specifically mentions that he knows intellectually he didn't do anything wrong. He wasn't fired for cause.
And that's the tragedy of it. The brain is a meaning-making machine. It hates randomness.
Right.
Lost my job because of a budget cut is boring and scary because you can't control it. I lost my job because I'm not good enough is painful, but it gives you a reason. It personalizes the pain.
So he's shrinking, he's blaming himself, and then he has to face the outside world.
Oh.
We mentioned the what do you do question earlier. Jack identifies this as the absolute hardest part. He says he felt nervous and ashamed to meet people.
And shame is the key word there. Shame is different from guilt. Guilt is, I did something bad.
Shame is, I am bad.
Right.
But help me reconcile this, because he says, I felt ashamed even though I did nothing wrong. That contradiction, it drives me crazy. If you know you're innocent, why do you feel guilty?
Because we are tribal animals. For hundreds of thousands of years, your survival depended on your utility to the group.
Your purpose.
Your purpose. If you weren't hunting or gathering or protecting, you were a drain on resources, you were a liability. That programming is deep. So when we aren't producing economically, that primal alarm bell goes off.
We feel like we're letting the tribe down.
Letting the tribe down, exactly. So Jack isn't reacting to his friend's judgment, he's reacting to his own evolutionary programming.
Which is where Melissa, his friend in the dialogue, tries to counter this. She tells him, unemployment is not a failure.
Which is the logical truth, of course.
Of course. But listen to Jack's response. He doesn't say, thanks, I'm cured. He says, yes, but it takes time to believe that.
That's so key. He acknowledges that you can't just logic your way out of an emotional hole.
No.
You have to behave your way out of it.
Which brings us to the how. This is the part of the source material that I found the most surprising and honestly the most useful. Jack didn't fix his confidence by, getting a massive promotion or starting a company. He used what he calls small confidence habits.
This is the tactical gold.
Let's break them down because on the surface they sound almost trivial. The first one, waking up at the same time every day.
Trivial? Maybe. Essential? Absolutely.
But why? If I don't have a job, why not sleep until 10 a.m.? Why not enjoy the rest?
Because decision fatigue is real. If you wake up every day having to decide when to start your day, you're burning mental energy before you've even had coffee.
That's a good point.
Plus, sleeping in reinforces the idea that you have no purpose. A fixed wake-up time is a contract you sign with yourself. It says, my time has value regardless of who is paying for it.
Okay, I buy that. Structure is a safety net. So the second habit is the one that, well, it made me laugh at first.
Oh, I know this one.
But then I thought about it, and it's actually kind of profound. He says, get dressed.
Yeah.
Specifically, do not stay in your pajamas.
This is a favorite topic of mine. There's a concept in psychology called enclothed cognition.
Enclothed cognition. Tell me about that.
Basically, the clothes you wear affect your psychological processes. If you wear a doctor's coat, you actually become more attentive. If you stay in sweatpants or pajamas, your brain stays in rest and digest mode. You are signaling to yourself that you are passive.
So Jack putting on a pair of jeans is
What?
a costume for the day.
It's a uniform of competence. It's Jack telling his brain, we are online, we are active. It creates a boundary between sleep Jack and capable Jack. If you spend 3 weeks in pajamas, the capable version of you starts to fade away. You forget what he feels like.
That connects directly to his phrase about these habits making him feel human again.
Yeah.
It's almost like he felt he was devolving.
Devolving into a non-entity, a ghost in his own apartment.
And the third habit is physical. He mentions going for a short walk, not a marathon, not some heavy gym session, just a walk.
Again, seems simple, but look at the mechanism. When you are unemployed and ashamed, your world physically shrinks.
You stay in your apartment, you stay in your bedroom, you stare at screens.
You're in a box. You are in a box with your own negative thoughts just bouncing off the walls.
Yeah.
Walking provides what neuroscientists call optic flow. The lateral movement of the world passing your eyes actually quiets the amygdala, the fear center. It lowers anxiety.
So walking literally moves you forward, physically and mentally.
It reminds you that the world is still turning, that the neighborhood is still there. It breaks the solipsism of, I am the only person suffering.
Wow.
Jack needed to see that he existed outside of his problem.
I really appreciate that we're digging into the science of this, because I think a lot of people here take a walk and they think it's just flimsy self-help advice.
But it's not. He's describing a physiological reset. Confidence is biochemical. You can't just think confidence. You have to build the scaffolding for it.
Wake up, dress up, move out.
That's the foundation.
So Jack lays this foundation. He's feeling a little more human,
Yeah.
but he's still carrying this secret. And that leads to the next big shift in the source material, connection.
The release valve.
Yes. Jack says that when he finally shared his feelings with others, he felt lighter and less alone.
That word lighter, again, shame is heavy, it's a physical burden, and I think this is particularly hard for high achievers.
Why them specifically?
Well,
We're used to showing people our trophies, not our scars.
it's the Instagram filter effect. We only want to share the highlights. Admitting you're out of work feels like posting a picture of your dirty laundry. Exactly. But isolation acts as an echo chamber. When Jack is alone, the thought, I am a failure, goes unchallenged. It just bounces around and gets louder.
But when he speaks it out loud to a friend,
The friend can look him in the eye and say, that's not true.
which is exactly what Melissa does, she delivers these 3 sentences that I think everyone needs to hear at some point.
Mhm.
She says, "You are not broken. You are not alone."
You are not broken. I actually stopped the tape when I read that in the transcript.
Why that specific phrase? What hit you about it?
Because it addresses the machine metaphor we sort of talked about earlier. If a toaster doesn't toast, it's broken. You throw it out.
Right.
Jack feels like a toaster that doesn't toast. Melissa's reminding him that he isn't an appliance. He's a human being. A human who isn't working is still a fully functioning human.
That's a crucial distinction. But, okay, I want to play devil's advocate here for a second,
Go for it.
because I can hear a listener right now rolling their eyes. Melissa says, not having a job does not change your value. And Jack agrees. But does it? In the real world, we have bills, we have rent. If I can't pay my mortgage, my value to the bank has definitely changed. My value to the economy is zero. Isn't it a bit naive to say our value hasn't changed?
That is the hard, cold reality. You are absolutely right. To the bank, you are a number. To the economy, you are a unit of production. If you stop producing, that specific type of value drops to zero. That is undeniable.
Okay, so how do we square that with you are not broken?
Because Jack is making a bid for intrinsic worth over extrinsic worth. If you accept the bank's definition of you, then yes, you are worthless when you're broke.
But Jack is arguing for a different metric.
Exactly. He says, I am still learning. I am still growing.
So he's changing the currency?
He's changing the currency. He's saying, my bank account is static, but my mind is kinetic. As long as he's even if he's just learning how to deal with shame, he is accruing value. It's a defiance.
It's like looking at capitalism and saying, you don't get to decide what I'm worth.
That's it. It's the ultimate resilience. If your self-worth is entirely tied to your paycheck, you are fragile. One bad meeting, one layoff, and you shatter.
But Jack is building a self-worth that is robust.
Because it's based on learning and growing, which are things nobody can fire you from.
You can't get laid off from your own personal growth.
Exactly.
And Jack wraps up the dialogue with a final piece of advice that brings it all back down to the ground level. He says, take one small step. Confidence will come back.
And note the order of operations there. That is so critical.
He doesn't say wait until confidence comes back, then take a step.
Right. Most people sit in waiting mode. They think, I'll apply for that job when I feel confident, or I'll go to that networking event when I feel confident.
But Jack realizes something else.
He realizes that confidence is a result of action, not a prerequisite for it.
You have to do the thing while you're scared.
You take the step shaking, you put on the clothes feeling like a fraud, you go for the walk feeling like a loser, but you do it. And the brain watches you do it and says, oh, wait, we're doing things. Okay, maybe we are capable.
The confidence trails behind the action.
Yes. It's trailing intelligence. Confidence will come back. It's a promise, but you have to make the first move.
So we've tracked this journey from the deceptive relief of the honeymoon phase down into the shrinking box of shame and then climbing back out, not with giant leaps, but with socks and walks and honest conversations.
It's a manual for being human when the system tells you you're obsolete.
It really is.
Yeah.
And looking at the source material, what strikes me is that Jack doesn't end the conversation by saying, and then I got a job as a CEO.
No, we don't know if he got a job.
And that's the beauty of it. The victory wasn't the employment. The victory was the stability.
He reclaimed his identity before the market validated him. That's the win.
So as we wrap this up, I want to issue a challenge to you, the listener. We've talked a lot about the theory of separating your worth from your work, but I want to see if you can actually do it.
Oh, I like this. What's the test?
The next time you are in a social setting, a party, a mixer, even just chatting with a neighbor, and you meet someone new, I want you to introduce yourself and hold a conversation for 5 minutes without mentioning your job title.
Oof. That is incredibly difficult for most people.
It sounds so easy, right? But try it. If you take, I'm an accountant or I'm a project manager, off the table, what is left? I mean, who are you?
Are you a runner, a reader, a father, a curious person?
And if you find yourself panicking, or if you just go blank, that tells you something. That tells you that your small confidence might be a little too tied to your business card.
And that's your signal to start building that foundation. Get dressed. Take the walk.
Exactly. Find the value that no boss can give you and no layoff can take away.
And remember, even if you're in the thick of it right now, you are not broken.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you next time.